As a toddler, I was taught how to count, how to read, how to walk, and obligatory rules and manners to be a kid. My parents also taught me the small amount of fear necessary for my protection. Be afraid of the stove so that you do not get burned. Be afraid of the bunk bed height so that you do not fall and get hurt. Be afraid of the big dog next door so that you do not get bitten. At this early stage in development, fear was a very necessary evil for my safety. However, at a certain point, my parents stopped teaching me to be afraid. What was once a healthy habit could have very quickly escalated into my Achilles heel if it were not for my parents. I believe fear is the greatest obstacle in the way of living a liberating, joyous, fulfilling life. My parents have always been the beacon of light in my life, constantly showing me the way and guiding me in the right direction. Growing up, many of my friends have faced adversity. They have been forced to deal with parents' separations, terminal illnesses, and addictions. By some strange twist of fate, I have never had to deal with these things. My parents have been nothing less than perfect in my opinion, but I never take this for granted. Although my mom was a teen mom, she and my dad have done a wonderful job with my older two siblings. In my parents' eyes, the most important thing to instill in us was fearlessness. Because of my upbringing, I have had the luxury of focusing my efforts into living a life without fear. In the past, the foremost thing that has kept me from engaging in what brings me joy is fear of failure or rejection. At times I have felt pressure to silence my inner voice and just go with what others were saying and doing. This pressure was spawned from a fear of others rejecting me. When I have sat in silence and not applied myself, it is because I have been afraid of failing. When I apply myself, I know there's a chance of failure, and that terrifies me. When I open myself up to other people, in the back of my brain, there is a trepidatious voice reminding me of possible rejection. There is a high chance that I will intimidate others or they will not like who I am and will disregard me without remorse. I am vulnerable. As this inner fear intensifies, I participate less and less until finally I deny myself even the feeling of desire. As humans, we want things, people, experiences, and so much more. Hunger is something that comes very naturally because it leads to reaching goals and gaining the things I yearn for. I have been shut down many times by opportunities I cannot experience, people I cannot love, and things I cannot have. These disappointing attempts layer rejection on failure until it becomes a papier-mâché cast of fear that surrounds and dictates every move I make. I risk becoming so encased in this fear that I would deny myself the most natural satisfaction there is, desire. Without a desire, there is no attempt, which means there is no chance of failure, but unfortunately, no chance of success. Although 17 years may not seem like much time to some people, it is the longest time I know. In these 17 years, I have come to learn that living is something I do, not something I am. I'm about to fly the nest and muddle through finding my place in the world. There's the cliché question people always ask, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? My question to them is, why is failure such a bad thing? Eliminate the last half of the question and leave it as, what will you do? The failure is not the issue, but rather the fear of failure is. As I go into the world, I hope to live that question every day. I hope to take chances and not be afraid of desire, rejection, or failure. I hope to live my life without a cast of fear surrounding me. My mom always asks me, Chloe, what are you going to do with your one wild and precious life? While I may not know the answer yet, I do know that I refuse to live my life in fear.